Now, Sports Talk with Brodes. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Sports Talk with Brodes. This football game is not going to get out of my brain for a long period of time. I'm not going to wake up any day this week and be over what my eyeballs witnessed. This was a must-win football game. Essentially, it was a playoff game, and they were that undisciplined, and they were that unaware of what was going on in in-game situations, and that's a reflection on the head coach. Now, we heard him speak in the day after press conference, and it sort of sounded like he had a conversation with Jeffrey Lurie where he would be part of the solution. That's the vibe I got. Maybe I'm wrong, and I do believe that Doug Pederson deserves one more shot at it, one more crack at it. It has been an abysmal season for him, and he looked lost. You can count a billion times him just getting out-coached and out-game-planned and out-schemed. And that's a problem. And not being able to make certain adjustments. It's not ironic that Jalen Hurts has not been the same quarterback in the second half compared to the first half. There is a correlation there. This head coach does not know how to counter what other teams provide when it comes to their first chess move when they see the initial game plan. And sometimes Doug just alludes to going off track himself and saying, yeah, we're not going to run the ball more. Even if you find ways to be successful against this garbage defense, we're going to go away from the run anyway. It's a serious joke because this team, this Dallas Cowboys team, they haven't stopped anyone all year long. It's so simple. Maybe it's not as effective as it was in the first drive. Fine, but I'm not claiming it was going to be, even if you stayed with the run. You can still be effective if the Cowboys make adjustments. They haven't made good enough adjustments all year long, so let's use their track record to show you they don't know what they're doing on the other side, but yet they somehow made Doug Pederson look like a fool and look silly. There was a point in time, are you ready for this statement? In the back end of the 2020 season, in a meaningful football game, there was a time where they were running Jordan Howard. You have Miles Sanders. He's arguably one of the best weapons in football. You would think that he would be even better than what you already view him as if he got more touches and had the ability to have more opportunities. But this coaching staff, they're criminal. That's what they are. They're criminals. They're robbing Miles Sanders from all these chances to be more recognized than he already is. But the fact that in this playoff game, and I'm using air quotes, of course, you're throwing Jordan Howard out there for snaps, but Miles Sanders hasn't even had enough to warrant you going to all these other backs. There are times where these running backs get 20-plus carries, high 20s, and then you operate some other backs, change pace. That's fine. I'm with it. But when you're limiting your star guy to what he gets, he had 8 carries in the first, and then after that it was 7 for the rest of the game. So you're telling me that's enough where you can justify using Jordan Howard, who has nothing left in the tank, may I add? Those are the decisions that blow my mind from this coach. And I still think he deserves one more opportunity, even knowing that he has major flaws, because I'm frustrated as anybody else with the 4-6 push in 2018, the 5-7 push in 2019, and the 4-9-1 push before this game in 2020. I'm frustrated as hell with those, but he has had some success since he's been here. He did win the Super Bowl, and he did get you to the playoffs, albeit in one of the worst divisions over the last handful of years, where 9-7's getting you in, and they made it as the wild card team 2 years ago at 9-7, so it hasn't been pretty, it hasn't been gorgeous, but I think if you light the fire under his ass from day one, you get a different mentality. If he knows, Doug, this is it, dude. This is all you got. This is your last chance. Well, I think maybe you'll see a sense of urgency from, hopefully. Only time will tell. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how they're going to do this. I could see it where they stay status quo, which would suck and be the wrong move. I can see where they make some sort of philosophy change with all those 10 billion versions of assistant coaches, pass game coordinator, assistant run game coordinator, this and that, all those nonsense people, and just get one OC for Doug P. I could see them moving on from Jim Schwartz. I could see so many different scenarios. I'm really nervous that they're not going to make the right decision. It's a big time offseason here for this organization. Now, we are broadcasting live from the Manscaped Man Cave. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code BROD at manscaped.com. I brought up Doug Pederson's pass, right? The 4 and 6 push, the 5 and 7 push. He underachieves all season long, and then he tries to rally. That's what he does. And we look at it as, well, stop putting yourself in that situation, but we value how you keep this team together and you keep this team engaged during late runs. Well, you would think that this team is 3-0 during the last 3 games when bringing that up, but they're 1-2. And I know some are excited with the quarterback play, and we'll get to that, but that just shows you how flawed this team really is and how flawed this coaching is when you see that you're 1-2 with this quarterback that apparently sparked this offense to this lethal degree. And look how many yards he's throwing for, and look how he's using his legs, and look how many rushing yards he has. You're 1-2. That's not winning football, right? So shouldn't that tell you something? But getting back to where he is halfway through a season or 75% through a season consistently, you're falling on your face and then you're pulling yourself out of that hole. That's not something you can do for a long period of time. That's not how you get sustained success. You might have got away with it for a couple of seasons, but if you try and do that every year, this is going to be the outcome more times than not. So you can't keep living by that. You can't keep living on the edge by trying to go on a forceful run towards the end late in December. Now, a couple questions that I have when it comes to this coach. Because we do talk about how the team seems to be bought in. Guys respect Doug Pederson. I feel it's possible we finally saw it go in the other direction. And there are a couple of moments that stood out to me. So we talked about how undisciplined this team is. Zach Ertz is getting called for flags and being penalized late in a crucial game like this. Now, to be fair, Zach Ertz had its issues with the front office. He's clearly unhappy with others in the organization. He's not thrilled with how it went down. He probably understands that he's going to be out of town soon. So maybe his play isn't specifically describing how Doug Pederson has this current locker room, and it shows where Zach Ertz is internally with this organization. And he's so unhappy, and it's reflecting his play. Maybe with Zach Ertz and these late penalties has nothing to do with Dougie P and more to do with the overall contract and what's his next move going to be. And he probably thought he would be an Eagles for life kind of guy, and they maybe turned their back on them at one point. I don't know. But that does stand out to me that someone like Ertz, right or wrong, I'm looking at it as, is it engaged properly with the current structure? Fletcher Cox had a stinger, sat out. The game changed when he sat out. Now, I'm not here to question Fletcher Cox's mindset and his toughness because there's a few guys I value differently than others. If Lane Johnson's sitting out, I think he's in that much pain where he's sitting out. If Jason Kelce's sitting out, I think it's because Jason Kelce's in so much pain. I put Fletch in the same category. He battles through a lot of adversity, and he's so tough that when he sits out, it's almost telling. But a stinger in a must-win situation where if you win this football games and other things pan out the way you need them to, which they did, the Ravens ended up beating the Giants and Washington got destroyed, you would have felt great about your chances in this last week. So knowing how big the game was against Dallas, for him to take the pads off and sit down, is that telling you something? Are you seeing these veteran players viewing the current mold totally differently than we are accustomed to them looking at it in the past? I think it's very fair. That's not the only one. Deshaun Jackson, he gets hurt sore after that touchdown play. You felt great doing the front flip. You felt great doing a somersault into the end zone and celebrating, doing your thing, being all excited. After that, you wanted to mail it in. I'm good. I'm done. I'm sore. So your veteran guys are now saying, yeah, all right, penalties, taking the pads off, sore, I have a stinger. Now, some stingers have kept guys out for a bit of time. Jordan Howard was out with a stinger before when he was more a significant role of this team last season. So stingers have kept guys out. But I think it's also telling that maybe these players feel a different way about the head coach. Maybe they see that he was so lost this year. When you watch the coaching angle of that game against Dallas, he had no clue what he was doing. He was seriously lost. It looked like he was brain dead on the sidelines, as if nothing was actually going on in his brain, and he was just walking the sidelines pointing things out. No flow, no sense of time, no sense of clock, no awareness with the score, no idea what he was doing from a run game standpoint, which isn't anything new. And I love how the broadcast said that he was a guy who likes to run the football, essentially. Are you kidding me? What team have you been watching? Ridiculous, right? I wonder, did Howie Roseman look at this roster before the season started and said, this is good enough? Like, this is a good team. And that's why they go out and get the Jalen Hurts pick in the second round. They're trying to get cute. They're trying to get flashy. They think their roster is good and it is constructed properly so they can start fooling around. That's embarrassing if that's the case. It's hard for me to imagine because here we are. We are people who watch the league and study it to a decent degree, right? We follow it. We break down film. We see how it goes. And we were fully aware that this team was nowhere close to being good enough. I saw them as a 9-7 football team healthy when they had everybody go, and I thought they were 9-7. So that tells me that, no, it's not a great team. But how can you possibly go into the season with such high expectations and draft the way that you do? Jalen Reagor, you can say that he was, I'm not going to go as far as a luxury pick, but he was a pick because of a certain skill set. It's almost as if you think your roster is so good in all the other areas that you're looking for just the identity to fit your mold, not so much the best wide receiver. You're looking for a specific item because you feel great elsewhere, because you put a lot of stock into Deshaun Jackson for the 10 billionth time, which was a joke, which was a nightmare. And oh, by the way, if you want to get rid of him, you're going to have to pay, what, $6 million to do it? Oh, you want to get rid of Alshon Jeffrey? It's going to cost you a bunch of money to do it. You think about cutting all these guys and getting younger and going with a different core unit. Good luck, because you're absolutely screwed when it comes to the dead cap money and all the signings you did for these older veterans. It's coming back to bite you in the ass, and you have no way to maneuver it. Doug Pederson talks about being a part of the solution. Well, you got to draft those solutions because you don't have money to go spend around and try and snag guys in free agency. I was on the Sports Bash today on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Henning filling in for Mike Gill, and we talked about with this first-round pick. And right now, you're sitting at that 6th spot. It can go to 3, it can go to 10. But we were hypothetically very early bringing up, what do you even go after? And we were talking maybe Alabama cornerback, because you definitely need help opposite of Slay. They went into the season thinking that Avonte Maddox opposite of Slay was great. No. The way to use Maddox, and he's not good in that role, but if your roster is solid, he's your slot corner, and if need be, based off of emergencies, he can play outside corner for a handful of just limited action, but he can't be your starter going into it. That's the issue with the roster construction. Avonte Maddox is good in the slot. He can't play on the outside, but if he's your backup to that, if something goes wrong with who your actual starter is, that's a different conversation, and that's when you go back to the whole roster being such a terribly built product. But getting back to fixing the issue, Josh Hennig said he's done. He's done with the wide receivers. He doesn't want to do it anymore in the first round. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Now, you would have to commit to admitting J.J. Arcega-Whiteside didn't work, which you're doing that by not even dressing him to play, which isn't getting highlighted enough. The guy can't even get on the damn field. That's way worse than Reagor. Reagor can at least be on the field. He's frustrating and he's annoying, but he can play and has a skill set. J-Jaw is being health bombed by a lot of guys when you're already super thin at the position. That's telling you everything you need to know on how much of a disaster that pick is. But then you would be saying, with my high draft picks, with Jalen Reagor last year in the first, with J-Jaw the year prior in the second, and now in the first with our extremely high pick this year, we're going after another wide receiver. But if you are going to fix this issue, this is how you have to do it. Now, the problem is you need safety help. You need cornerback help. You need linebacker help. You need defensive line help. You need offensive line help. You need wide receiver help. You need so many positions. It makes me want to scream just thinking about it. Because I don't know how they're going to fix it. You don't have enough. I feel you are going to have to go through a similar season next year until you can get yourself out of this mess that you put yourself into. I wouldn't be opposed to Chase in the first round. Now, what can you do? Can you find a way? That's a wide receiver from LSU, by the way, in case that went over some people's heads there that don't know too much about some of these players in the upcoming draft. You can go in so many different directions. Can you trade back? You need that much help. Would trading back give you a benefit? So maybe you can get 2 first-round picks involved or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of time for the drafting side of things, but I look at it from everyone claiming we got to find the solution. We need to fix this. Well, drafting well is what starts this. That's where it begins, because then all these older players you rely on, it's more about relying on these younger players that can actually play, that can actually perform. Jalen Reagor has been an extreme disappointment. Now, I think if you throw him in Sean McVay's offense, you'd get a different version of Jalen Reagor. I think a lot of that has to do with the poor quarterback play from Carson early, his own injury, Doug Pederson's usage of Jalen Reagor. But still, I mean, I expected more out of him. The fact that he lacks separation when separation is supposed to be something that he thrives in, it really is annoying. It irks me, and something that Doug Pederson said today in the presser also irked me. But first, I want to let you know about my friends at DraftKings. While the holiday season may be winding down, the sports calendar is in full swing this week. From collegiate to professional sports, there is no shortage of action. There's no better place to get in on all the action than with DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. To celebrate this year's college football playoffs, DraftKings is giving all new users the chance to bet on any semifinal team to win the championship at 100 to 1 odds. That's right. All you have to do is bet $1 on any semifinal team to win the championship. And if your team wins, you cash $100. Let's not forget the 2021 basketball season just kicked off, so head to the app now and check out their daily odds boost. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app right now and use promo code Brodes when you sign up to get 100 to 1 odds on any semifinal team to win it all. That's code Brodes for new players to get a shot at $100 on any semifinal this week for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only. Restrictions apply. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Now, I did this the other pod, and I'm going to have to do it again. I just need a fat sip of water. I do. I got dry mouth. I did 4 hours of radio earlier today. So, sometimes when these vocals just get going and they get rolling and there's a nonstop involved, you get a little dry. You need a little moisture, So delicious. All right. So what stood out to me? He wants to be part of the solution, Doug Pederson. A part of the evaluation process. A voice that is heard. Communication with Howie and his staff about personnel. This was stated today. So is this Doug Pederson just being bad at press conferences and not really understanding the message that he is relaying to the fan base? Or is he not involved at all? We're constantly told that this is a collaboration, that it's Howie, it's Jeffrey Lurie, it's the head coach and Doug. Well, we've seen examples of Doug not having a lot to say, whether it's Mike Rowe getting canned and the ownership saying, here's the coaches you're getting handed, do something with it, it's pretty clear that Doug Pederson has to check back with others involved. Is there a reason why that is? Is that the right move because Doug is so out there and so clueless? Or does it seem that way because he needs to go through others to get to where he wants to be? And he might not even get to where he wants to be because the others are not allowing him to personally get there. But it's just such a confusing answer. It was the last question of the press conference. Rob Maaddi asked the question. He's like, I want to be a part of this. I want to have communication with Howie about personnel. It's almost as if he was not trying to step on his toes. But is this telling you that Howie Roseman, Doug Pederson looks at Howie Roseman as a guy that doesn't know what he's doing from an evaluation standpoint? Not that that's breaking news. And to be honest with you, we say that Doug is Stunad and he lost some brain cells. If he feels that way about Howie Roseman, should that question the fact that we feel the same way? Should that question how we feel because we're agreeing with someone who is on the sidelines with monkeys banging on the cymbals in his brain? But I digress. Enough with that. Of course, that's just a joke. What is happening internally? The power struggle is on full display. And I don't know if they're going to fix this. Is bringing in John Dorsey a fix? Did that make things worse? Did that piss off Howie Roseman? Quite frankly, I don't care if it pissed off Howie Roseman because when you do what you do over the last handful of years and your track record shows you are missing and missing big time and giving out bad contracts and putting this team in hell and starting quarterback controversies and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, well, you better move the hell over because someone else is going to take your job. That's what happens when you fail a bunch of times, and that's what Howie Roseman has done in the recent times. All right, why don't we get to some anytime hotline calls, huh? The phone number is 856-442-9805. You can call in, leave your reaction to the Eagles, where they are now. Hell, let's look at the 76ers real quick. They got some games coming up. You can leave your reactions as soon as the game is over on the Anytime Hotline. Once again, the phone number, 856-442-9805. Let's kick it off.
This is Steve from California. What a disaster with the energy level again. I keep on bringing up the energy level and the intensity. There was nothing there. The first quarter maybe, but then we have people like Zach Ertz, no energy. I mean, Ertz is shell of what he used to be. I guess he knows he's going to probably be traded or released. And then the penalties. This is discipline problems all and up and down that damn roster, man. But to see all those penalties and crucial drives, they actually had a chance in the third and fourth quarter. But with all these penalties and they're out of whack, nobody knows where to line up. It's a joke.
It is a joke. It really is. When Darius Slay got that interception, there was some juice involved, right? A little bit of excitement to see a couple guys grab the helmets off on the bench. Let's go hit the field. Let's go score. And you end up having a miscommunication between Hurts and Rager. You got a hold on Pryor. You got the Zach Ertz penalty. You get a ball batted down. You get Isaac Seumalo. I talked about some of these veterans in Fletcher Cox, Deshaun Jackson, Zach Ertz. When it comes to looking at Doug Pederson and seeing if there's a correlation between how he is in the locker room and how his message is to his team, well, Isaac Seumalo's been around for a long time, and he's extremely out of whack as well on that O-line. What is that telling you? That's telling me that there is a disconnect from the message sent from Doug P. And we look at guys like Quez Watkins, Miles Sanders, Jordan Mailata, some of these younger guys that you feel will be a part of this team for the next upcoming years and a part of this product for the foreseeable future. What type of message are you sending to this team when you allow Fletcher Cox to sit back and kick back, when you allow Deshaun Jackson, you're sure to hang out on the sidelines in such a big game? Did you hear what J.J. Watt had to say after the Texans game? He went off talking about how people don't take this seriously, and he's very frustrated with some guys internally, how you got to be a professional, how you need to act the right way about your business, how you need to take pride in what you do. And I saw a lot of scenarios out there on the field from the Eagles Bill's perspective, that fits the mold on what he was describing. Guys that weren't fully engaged. And when that happens, that is totally a microcosm of what is happening from a higher level inside the organization as well, including the coaching. Now, I'm going to be in the outlier. This is going to be a hot take, I'm sure. How do I feel about Washington? And as the week goes on, we'll talk about that useless matchup. But do you want them to win? Do you not want them to win? You want that high draft pick? I can't sit there and say, I want you guys to go out there and try to lose. I want you guys to not compete. You heard Jason Kelce weeks ago. You have the right culture if you're going to go out there and leave everything out there on the field. If you go out there with your blood, sweat, and tears and you try and win that game, no matter if Dallas gets in, no matter if New York gets in, no matter if you lose the game and Washington goes in, although with their quarterback situation, Dwayne Haskins getting cut, what a nightmare that was, and going to their third-string guy, I don't know what they're going to bring to the table offensively, and quite frankly, I don't give a damn. What I'm looking at is, I want to see where this franchise is with some of their players who are going to be here for this organization. I want to see them play the right way. That tells me a lot. If they don't, if you see another outing like you saw last week, all right, I think even more questions are asked about the head coach, about Doug Pederson. So it's a defining moment for me how they played. I want to see them leave everything they possibly have at the link. Yeah, at the link. I had to question myself for a second. Forgot where the first game was. That brutal come-from-behind win that Washington had with that lethal front four. Good luck, offensive line. Good luck.
This is Eddie from California. I mean, what can we say, man? The team is atrocious. But I know a lot of the phone calls you're going to get on this are going to be regarding the defense. My thing is, why are you only going to blame the defense? The offense only put up 17 points, when it's probably been nearly their average the entire season. It just proves once again that it wasn't who was behind center that was the main issue. It's your coaching. Been saying that since the beginning of the season, and that's what I'm sticking with. It wasn't Wentz, all of it Wentz. It was Doug Pederson, the play calling, and that's where we're at. And that's where we're going to be for 2020. For what, one more week.
You're not wrong. What I saw yesterday offensively from a game plan standpoint, getting away from the game plan, and how it all finished out was, I saw exactly what I saw out of Carson Wentz in that offense over the first 10, 11, 12 weeks, however many weeks it was for Carson Wentz. I saw the same exact style go. You can't be outscored 34-3 by the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, that's almost impossible to do. The team was elevated from the spark of Jalen Hurts. That eventually runs out. It has its moments. It definitely sparked some excitement, even from the fan base. You were intrigued to sit down and watch the game, but that would not be something that would last forever. At some point, it wouldn't be a reality. It's just a shot in the arm. That's what it is. It's the adrenaline rush. And eventually, adrenaline ends. And when that adrenaline ends, you need to have the skill level, and you need to have everyone on the same page and everyone bought in to provide good football from there. And that wasn't what you had at all. That's not what you had this season. That's not what this team is capable of doing. So when I assess this offense, I say it looked very similar to a billion moments that I saw of a struggling Carson Wentz. If you cleaned up things surrounding Jalen Hurts, you would get better Jalen Hurts play. Now, in terms of the defense, I knew this would happen. And shame on me. I was saying Jaquette was the guy that worked at the tire shop. Apparently, that was Seymour. It wasn't Jaquette. But just the fact that I made that mistake because there's so many damn guys you're picking up off the streets and off the practice squad just shows you where this team is really at when it comes to the depletion of all of your actual players. It's embarrassing when you look at the history of all the injuries. But reality is, if you expected any defensive coordinator to be able to work with that and get way better results, shame on you. Shame on you. Could he have pulled Jalen Mills to corner earlier? Yes, instead of making the adjustment, which was moving him to another side, and once they moved him to another wide receiver, he got shelled in that area too. Yeah, maybe you could have went somewhere else, but that's still not fixing your issues. Think about how many times you sat there and abused Jalen Mills because he bought on a double move. How many times did Jalen Mills get waxed over the top? I'm not saying that Jim Schwartz played this thing perfectly, but there's no defensive coordinator that gets you a different outcome, that gets you a winnable product with the talent that was on that roster. And I can throw this towards Doug Pederson as well. If you see things that aren't working, and I know defensive guys take care of the defensive side, offensive guys stay with the offensive guys, but if at some point you realize this isn't working, does Doug Pederson ever just talk to Jim Schwartz at all? Like, hey, why don't we try this? Or I don't care how you do it, but maybe you should try and find a way to help Jaquette or get him off the field. Just a conversation. It doesn't have to be a demand. It doesn't have to be a yell, but just a, hey, what do you think? Why don't we try and fix this up because he's getting waxed left and right? Does that ever fall on Doug Pederson to force the adjustment to be made instead of being passive and not having any sort of conversation? Now, we don't have that info. Did he do it? Did he not do it? I don't know, but I would guess that he didn't. If Doug felt strongly about needing to make that move. That's all.
Mercifully, this year is finally officially over. It's been a show from the start to the finish. Totally putrid moving forward. I think this organization's in a lot of trouble. I would even say I feel better about the Phillies than I do about the Eagles turning this around, because I just don't think there's going to be as many changes as other people seem to think. I don't think Doug Pederson is going anywhere. I don't think Howie Roseman is going anywhere. And I don't even know if Carson Wentz is going anywhere. And Jalen Hurts was exposed today. So when nothing changes, the result stays the same, right?
It is concerning to think about it. I just feel when you have a 4-win season, we're not used to this, all right? I know people have feelings about this franchise, McNabb, Reed, the whole era. This organization and franchise has been a very successful one when you look around the league and you look at playoff appearances and division wins and being able to win playoff games. They have had success. 4-win seasons is not in their backyard. It's not something that they do. So from Jeffrey Lurie's standpoint, you would imagine that he sees that and recognizes, okay, what we've been doing hasn't been working. We need to do something new. Now, what's John Dorsey's role going to be? Is Howie Roseman out on player evaluation as a whole? There has to be something. You would have to imagine that something new is going to occur. Now, you talk about Jalen Hurts being exposed. I felt that, and this is Doug also not helping out his quarterback and putting him in better positions to succeed, when you stop running the ball, these players on the defensive side for the Cowboys, they don't have to stack the box. Why would they have to respect the run game? You're not going to run the ball. So that makes it that much tougher on Jalen Hurts to have to throw the ball so many times. Now factor in that as much as you want to rip apart what this Dallas defense has been, which is deserving, they have linebackers, they have speed, they have some fast guys and athleticism up front where you want to run, and they had the quarterback spy on, and once they put that quarterback spy on, good luck beating some of these players. You're not going to. You want to run? Good luck beating us to the sideline. You want to run? Good luck beating us up the middle. You're not going to run anyway. We're not going to stack the box insanely. We'll have your quarterback spy on you, and we'll make sure when we shut down all the other avenues and we force you to throw and you want to go run, it's not going to work. You're not going to be able to get these 30-yard chunk plays that you were getting earlier when you had your first 2 starts. When you saw Dallas do certain things defensively, oh my God, I can't believe I'm about to say this. Nolan outdueled Doug Pederson. Doug Pederson was so perplexed and so lost mentally that he was outcoached by Nolan. I think that's everything you need to know. For real. I mean, that's pathetic. I did feel like I wanted to hit on one more thing that you mentioned in the call. I guess just, in terms of making moves and what are you going to do with the front office. I heard some takes that were interesting. I wouldn't say they were hot, but they were aggressive. But I also feel like there's some validity to it. You got to just start fresh. I mean, it's that ugly where you need to get a whole new set of eyes, a whole new identity, and a whole new outlook in this organization where starting fresh might be where you need to go. You have so many holes, so many issues, need so many new players. You got to fix the quarterback because you're tied to him financially. Are you in a spot now where you put yourself in such a corner where the best way to get out of it is, can guys start fresh, start interviewing? And I think it's reasonable to at least bring it up, to have it as an option. Everything has to be an option. That's where we're at, disgracefully, as we speak.
Mysterious, man. What a terrible, terrible way to go out. I feel bad for anybody that legitimately did the Philly sports experience and watched that Eagles game and then watched the first half of this Sixers game. Like, bro, I had to check in at halftime because I couldn't do it, bro. Yeah, I mean, I guess we get a better draft pick now because we have the playoffs. And people aren't thinking about the fact that maybe with this draft pick, y'all looking forward to getting another QB, bro. That's what we're getting, QB factory. Jalen, as if it's not bad enough, man, but I'm out of here, man. I can't even talk right now. I'm out of here. It's been real. Hopefully these Sixers can turn around.
Quarterback factory. Quarterback factory. Oh, what a nightmare! That's such an embarrassing quote. Are we gonna end it on quarterback factory? I think that's funny, right? I think that's the best way to do things. I think that's where we're gonna end it, on quarterback factory. Now there's a billion more anytime hotline calls to get to. We will utilize those throughout the week. I need to let you know about my friends at Orbit Energy and Power. Quarterback factory. Oh, quarterback factory. Did they really say that? Clayton Thorson over Darius Slayton. Nate Sudfeld, Jalen Hurts, Carson Wentz. Just because you draft a lot of quarterbacks, it doesn't make you a quarterback factory. It's about actually grooming quarterbacks to being insane talents where they can be effective and a factor in this league. Drafting a bunch of guys and having backup quarterbacks and all this nonsense doesn't just make you a quarterback factory. And what type of people who actually do have success doing something consider themselves that? Do they seriously look in the mirror and say quarterback factory and think that that is something that describes them? And if you do something at a high level and you do have success with quarterbacks, no one calls themselves that. Right? Who does that? Brutal individuals. That's who do that. All right, back to Orbit Energy and Power. Not brutal individuals. Fantastic individuals. With over 20 years of experience in the industry, they're home to your solar experts. Their solar program helps eliminate your electric bill completely. They provide water purification systems, backup energy services, battery storage, and more. Tree removals, new roofing, so many things. If you're looking to upgrade your home, go to Orbit Energy and Power. Thank you all so much for listening, and I will see you next time.